Is an all-out war with Iran now inevitable, do you think?
You never can say inevitable in real life, but it's quite clear that we're basically into such a full-scale war. I don't think that any modern country has suffered 200 ballistic missiles attacking them within 1 hour and, from afar, when the ring of fire that Iran very carefully built along the last 15 years is working against Israel in the recent year. So basically, we are in a war, but it doesn't mean that it cannot be stopped, or it's inevitable that it will be here in the next when the next Jewish New Year comes.
When we spoke quite recently after the Israeli attack on Haniyeh, the Hamas leader in Tehran, you said, "I do not recommend it to the Iranians," talking about attacking Israel. "I do not recommend it to the Iranians. It will not bring a better world for them." Well, they have done it. How do you think now Israel will respond?
First of all, the two attacks of the missile attacks were major failures, both the previous one in April and this last one of last night. But Israel has to respond, and I assume that there will be an attack on Iranian assets on Iranian ground. If you want to get an idea what it might be, look at what happens to the Yemenites and Hudaydah. The oil, the main port was attacked. The power plants, because they don't have oil production places, but infrastructure in Iran is very, very sensitive. It might be attacked. There are even talks in Israel among commentators about trying to hurt the nuclear kind of military plan, but that's, I think, more questionable whether it helps or damage. It's not easy to decide how to exactly contemplate it, but for sure Iran deserves having a response.
Is it possible, do you think, to cause serious damage to Iran, to make the point to Iran without leading to this sort of open missile warfare that many are predicting?
I'm not sure to what extent Iran will follow this pattern of sending 200 missiles in within half an hour or an hour after the two apparent failures of these tactics. Even for Iran, it's not an easy decision to launch 200 missiles. If they keep doing it, they will suffer the firepower of the Israeli Air Force that showed itself also some 1,300 miles from our shores in Yemen. It's about the same distance to Tehran. So Israel is capable of striking Iran in a way more than Iran is capable of striking Israel directly. But they deployed this ring of fire around us, so we are still stuck in Gaza, and we are still stuck in Lebanon. And the Lebanese arsenal of the Hezbollah arsenal of rockets is in a way more dangerous to Israel than the Iranian missile, which we get an early warning of 15 minutes, and most of them are intercepted.
Now, I know you are no fan of Benjamin Netanyahu. We've spoken about it before. He is clearly feeling that he's winning. He has said as much. He thinks he's winning. Do you think he is?
No, the last 2 weeks, with this, started with the pagers, and then with the elimination of Nasrallah and many of the elite, it's really resumed a kind of certain deterrence and filled once again self-confidence in Israel's mind, and probably certain pride of our sophistication of our defense establishment and the intelligence system that led to it. That's a great pride, and even in our region, it helps to create certain respect. And Netanyahu will take some of the credit for it. But you know, it's War looks like I spent many years in war. It looks like a roller coaster. You know what happened in the last weeks. 2 weeks was very good, so probably the next week will be not that good. And in the end, you have to look into the end game. And one of the real criticism of Netanyahu that in the last year he didn't show any readiness or understanding of the need, first of all, to know where you are going to end it. There is an old Roman saying, if you don't know which port you want to reach, no wind will take you there. And there is a parallel of it in Alice in Wonderland. That's a strategic leadership should know where they want to go. And Netanyahu seems to be as if the only leading interest is how to survive in power. And that's not a good recipe for leadership or statesmanship.
Do you think it was the right decision to launch a ground incursion, a ground operation inside southern Lebanon? Do you think that was wise?
Yeah, what is done now is wise and probably should have been taken many months ago. It's a limited operation just behind the border in the first 2 or 3 or 4 miles to destroy the infrastructure that was created by Hezbollah in the north in a very similar way to the infrastructure was created by Hamas in the south. So basically, in order to avoid an event like October 7, where suddenly you find yourself with thousands of terrorists inside your enemy, where the Israeli settlement is sometimes few yards from the borders, that is needed. Otherwise, you won't be able to bring back the 80,000 Israelis that left their homes at the north, which are now many of them destroyed. They cannot come if the vicinity of physical deployment of Hezbollah is few hundred yards from them. So that's cleaning this area is necessary, but we'll be clever not to spread it into a major invasion into Lebanon, because Lebanon doesn't end just beyond the border. We have been there for many years, and I personally ordered the evacuation of Lebanon after 18 years of staying there for no value whatsoever. We don't have to repeat our previous mistakes.
Right, just finally, and to be clear what you're saying earlier, you think it is possible that Israel strikes back hard against Iran and Iran would not possibly hit back? You think that they might take that hit? Is that what you're saying?
No, they will look. They're chess players, unlike most players in the Middle East, which are either checkers or backgammon players. The Iranians, I do not underestimate them. I say that to repeat the pattern of sending 200 missiles doesn't look to be effective. They will look for other ways that they might perceive more effective. Probably they try to hit some prominent figures in Israel, like we have done inside the IGRC guest house in Tehran. Probably they might try to do other things. Some 32 years, I was personally responsible for the elimination of Abbas Musawi. No one remembers the name. He was the predecessor of Nasrallah. And some 40 days afterwards, we suffered a major blow against Jewish citizens of Argentina. So Iran can surprise us in many ways. We should not be dormant. But they don't have the conventional forces. They cannot send their ground forces. They cannot send their navy. They cannot send their air force. They are basically marginal. They might, for example, try to initiate a movement of Shiite mercenaries from all over the Middle East to come to help Hezbollah. But that's the continuation of the idea of ring of fire. Until now, they managed to do it without being involved directly. And probably they won't find easy ways to hurt Israel by direct contact with Iranian forces.
Okay. Ehud Barak, thank you very much for your time. I appreciate you coming on the program. Thank you.
Thank you.